Oh yeah. Love it. Love it. Thank you, Gen AI, for the new intro music. You guys like that?
Yeah.
Just say yes.
Sorry. I'm thinking you're in the wrong show. You should be on the NASCAR circuit. Just thinking.
Yeah, well, we'll do a live spot from Talladega one of these days. Hey, welcome to the Cloud Show, episode 2. We are back.
Woo!
Better than ever. Episode 2.
Is it twice as good as the last one?
Twice as big, twice as loud. Of course, this is the #1 cast for IT explorers looking to learn and grow in the cloud era. I am your host, Drew Schlussel. I will be your spiritual guide through this mind-altering conversation for the next 30 minutes or so. And we're going to cover events in the IT market that are most likely related to hot cloud storage. Today's presentation, of course, is brought to you by Wasabi. Wasabi is recognized as one of technology industry's fastest growing companies. Wasabi is on a mission to store the world's data by making cloud storage affordable, predictable, and secure. With Wasabi, visionary companies gain the freedom to use their data whenever they like without being hit with unpredictable fees. We're going to talk about that a lot today. Or vendor lock-in, right? It's your data. Do what you want. Instead, you are free to build best-of-breed solutions with the industry's fastest-growing ecosystem of independent cloud application partners. That's us with them. All right. Great stuff. We've got a great show lined up for you today. I want to introduce the friends and guests. So we have, of course, Rob Cyber Protection Callaghan here. Rob, no special hat today?
No, I didn't want to mess my hair up,
All right. You didn't want to know.
What's under your hat?
What's what?
What's under your hat?
My head. So we also have, let me make sure I pronounce this correctly, Dan Manger with us from our industry analysis team. And last and least, we have Andrew Smith.
Glad you could pronounce my name correctly. It's a tough one. Sometimes
it is. Yep. I practiced all night.
Yep.
I called Sean in a panic this morning. Like, is it Smythe? Is it Smith? Is there an umlaut I'm missing? Like, how does this work?
Yeah.
Andrew, of course. Andrew, of course, is our newly anointed director of industry analysis and strategy for Wasabi. Andrew, thanks for joining today.
Thank you so much for having me, Drew and Rob.
You're welcome, and we welcome you to the first and probably last time that you'll be on the Hot Cloud Show, because you're get around, right? You got that other gig on the side. What is it? Spicy Bites.
Spicy Bites with a Y, yeah. The original.
Hey, don't be plugging
podcast.
it. I don't want to hear about it. I just don't. All right.
Which happened to broadcast this week from fantastic Fenway Park.
Yeah, I noticed you guys stacked right up yesterday, right on top, and of course you had like the A player, Aaron Adele.
I know, we got Aaron too.
Right. So talking
talk
about
to my production
AI
manager about that though.
Yeah, producer Sean, like, come on, man, you're stacking the deck here. I watched all of like maybe 2 minutes, so that was a lot. You give me credit for that, but I did like
last longer than 2 minutes.
Sorry, Rob.
Did it last longer than 2 minutes?
Let's move on. So pineapple. Today's word for anybody playing along at home, looking to incorporate a drinking game into the cast. The sipping word is pineapple. So cheers, everyone.
Yes, I was very disappointed in my boss when I sent him a fun video about pineapple and ham pizza. Pineapple and ham pizza. And he really found great joy when instead of eating it, they tossed it in the garbage.
Well, that's where it belongs. Dan,
and he's
help me out here. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Thank you. You can stay. Andrew?
Yes.
All right. This is why you're in the situation you're in today.
Andrew, I may be on your
Totally-
show more often than I'm on this show.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally appropriate.
Hey, that's fine, Rob. Sidekicks are a dime a dozen. We'll bring Dan in as the permanent
Drew is
co-host.
savage today on this Friday.
I don't think.
Hey.
Honestly don't think so, because what I think is with Andrew Smith's new title, it was meant to solve the problem that he's so busy on the talk show circuit that he's not actually doing work, and so Dan's gonna have to do all the work for him.
Well, I mean, tomorrow is May the 4th, right? And we found out that Dan is a mega fan of the Star Wars franchise. I'm pretty sure that you are well steeped in the canon, right? That is Star Wars. And I believe you were, before we went on, you were telling us about the rule of the Sith. What was that again? Tell me, Dan.
Yeah, so the Sith history and lore is within it is the rule of two. So there can actually only be two active Sith at one time. There's
Sith Lords.
Sith Lords, yes, a master and an apprentice. So whenever the apprentice grows strong enough to rise up and overthrow the master, then they take on a new apprentice, and so on and so forth. So.
And you work hand in hand with Andrew Smith, is that correct?
I do.
All right. Well,
Just make
I
sure.
have a hard time seeing Andrew as sort of the Sith Lord. I'm thinking more Jar Jar Binks. I'm just saying.
How dare you? How dare you mention that franchise-killing name? And as long as you take me out after Wasabi IPOs, then we'll be fine. That's when the Sith can switch.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's a
when,
fair deal.
What's the? I'm blanking. What's the original? I guess not the original. What's the other movie? Highlander. There can only be one.
right.
With that same concept.
Well, that applies more to the show circuit. That's why, and I'm surprised you guys didn't announce this, in yesterday's episode, that it was the last, episode of Spicy Bites, now replaced by Hot Cloud Show. Because
we're at number 8. We're just getting started. Number 8, lucky number 8 episode. It was a great one.
8 episodes in 2 years. We've done 2 episodes in 3 weeks. We're already at 25% of your coverage.
Well, if you paid attention during those 2 minutes that you watched, you would have seen it's clearly quality over quantity on the Spicy Bite show. Clearly.
That must have been after the 2-minute mark.
All right, we've had enough banter for let's
I have something to tie into the Sith and the only can be one and stuff. And it's interesting. It's in the news this week, and I think this is an opportunity where someone below will take out someone above. And it's a sad but interesting story that actually Wasabi has solutions for. Can I go down that path?
I think you already did. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So
is there pineapple involved?
Yeah. Maybe a lot of pineapple. Where security is concerned, you're seeing lots more stories in the news. But the great thing about Wasabi is that we have solutions to help you not be a story. And that is what we call sort of our defense in depth strategy of offering lots of layers of defense to protect your data when it's stored in Wasabi. Everything from SSO to MFA to immutable buckets so they can't be changed or modified or encrypted. And then our latest one we just released, which is getting a lot of traction and it's really huge, is multi-user authentication. What that has done is basically protected not just the data, but the account, because that's the next vector that people cyber criminals are going after. If I can't get at the data because you're using MFA, you're using immutability, but I can crack the credential of the storage admin, for example, the cloud admin, I will just delete the whole account that makes all of the immutability not for anything because the account goes away, the data in it. So by having MUA and the ability to sign multiple security people that all have to agree before a bucket or account deletion occurs, just provides protection that's easy to use and helps make your cloud storage more bulletproof. But getting back to the story, if you've been reading the news, a certain CEO of a large healthcare company had to go before Congress and admit that he doesn't know how it happened, but a simple security feature, in this case MFA, was not utilized, and that led to the hacking of all of your data in healthcare and prevented them from doing everything from securing your data, but also from doing things like, billing and conducting business. And I'm just wondering how long this CEO is going to have his seat before one comes below him to take him out, given this really critical lapse in security protocols, and just the fact that something as simple as these key features we give you was not utilized.
Yeah, Rob. So, I mean, this story kind of hit the news pretty hard this week because we know who it is, right? It's Change Healthcare. We're not throwing stones, but the big story, and I'm actually really stoked to hear this gentleman get up and testify and tell the truth, right? And really explain what happened, why it happened, and admit that because they had not utilized multi-factor authentication, right, they were susceptible to stolen credentials. And as a result of the stolen credentials, they got hacked. They got hacked really hard, right? And our customers have similar concerns. And I think we try, and we're amping this up, right? We want everyone to know we have MFA, we have single sign-on, we have now MUA. But let's pause there for a second. Let's drill on that. What is MUA, Rob? What is it? Why does it matter?
So MUA is with the understanding that everything is vulnerable. There's always a weak link in every company. It's not even the external people. Your internal people can be just as problematic that way. Is the ability to take an account that is where you're storing your key business data, your backup data, and protecting it at a higher level than it's available pretty much for any other vendor out there, where you can take and assign additional people in your company. And when we had a conversation recently with a CISO, he recommended those people not be in that same chain of command, but elsewhere, whether it be a legal person, a administrative person, someone else in the company, that for key things like deleting an account, which is huge, they have to be in the loop and they have to approve, because the chances that someone can compromise all those credentials without you knowing is pretty slim. So by adding those people, those layers, you're providing additional security to protect your valuable data and your ability to recover should you have a cyber attack.
Right. So this is like the dual key missile launch, right, from war games. But in this case, I believe we can extend that to at least 3 additional folks, right? And they all have to concur. So, there would have to be a seriously broken conspiracy, right, for you to be susceptible. Andrew's smiling. Like, you like that word, conspiracy?
I do.
Yeah. There'd have to be a pretty serious conspiracy to kind of violate the command, right, to delete your account. And I believe, Rob, we've also extended that to the bucket level, right? And we're looking at adding additional policies for other things that we manage as part of the account settings. So yeah, absolutely. This is fantastic. And again, we'll tell folks, look, it's all there, right? Your defense in depth approach, which you should have for your entire IT operations, we support that with Wasabi, right? We support that in multiple ways for account security, data security, as well as making sure that our data centers, where we store the data physically, is also secure. So
yeah,
excellent.
I wanted to layer onto there is that I think we talked and just about your theme song and Gen AI helping out, but Gen AI has given cyber criminals a whole expanded tool set of things that they can use to try to spoof, fool, trick. And so by spreading that requirements out to multiple people within an organization, maybe when you're your CFO, your chief legal officer, your HR person, whoever those people are that are not in that direct line, your chances of protecting that account goes up dramatically, because we have had incidences that we've heard of accounts being deleted and because all the backups were in the accounts, then they went and targeted the on-prem stuff, and the company basically had no ability to function going forward.
Sure. All right. Well, good to know. And we're gonna keep beating that drum, and we're gonna continue to use this kind of segment of the show. We don't have any cool sound effects like Spicy Bites, right? We rely on more interesting, mentally stimulating conversation to really get to the point. But we're going to definitely make sure that we continue to roll out and make everyone aware, all 6 people watching, that we've got a plethora of incredibly strong security features, as well as a lot of other cool stuff. So we'll keep touching on that. All right. So Dan, Andrew, you've been waiting patiently, and I'm so tempted to just keep rambling on and make you wait a little longer. But we are on a schedule. So let's get to the meat of today's menu. And that is, we want to talk about the problem in the industry with fees, right? Shake your heads up and down. That's a good thing. All right. Excellent. It's like, what was that? Ready, Go. What was the name of that band that would do those really cool videos? I'll look it up later.
Okay, Go says.
Okay, Go.
John.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you.
Yep.
Gosh, they do some incredible stuff. We're gonna have to, next time we're in Boston, Rob, we're gonna have to like make our own OK Go videos with the whole crew here. But how do we know that there's a fee problem? Well, Andrew and Dan have worked tirelessly twice now, second year, on putting together a very innovative survey, probably the only one of its kind focused on cloud storage, and also poured over the results. So, Andrew, how did this come about, and why should we believe anything in the survey?
So I
Well, first of all,
came.
what is it? Sorry, what is it? Why do we trust it?
I came from the analyst world. Was there on that side for 10 years between Forrester and IDC. There was a lack of independent research, market research on cloud storage and specifically cloud object storage, right? What Wasabi cares about and what we provide day to day. So I kind of wanted to emulate what we did on the analyst side in terms of providing credible data on the market and credible data on what buyers think through a survey that Wasabi would commission through a third party. We use a survey house called Vance and Bourne, UK survey house. We create the survey questionnaire. Vance and Bourne fields it. They vet the respondent set. They get all the data back, and then we interpret the results. And we are very transparent about the way we provide the analysis and core findings. Right? There's really nothing hidden in the data, which is, I think, how you build kind of trust
Absolutely.
and understanding in terms of delivery of market research. So the survey is 1,200 respondents.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask. How many people did we get to respond or responded to Vance and Bourne?
1,200 respondents this year across. That's globally. Most of them, I think about 500 are in North America. The rest are kind of EMEA and APAC. Wasabi's a global company, so we want to get a global polling of the market. Everything was conducted kind of December, January timeframe. So we're a couple months into talking about the results and evangelizing the cloud storage index. And so far it's been really well received. Second year we've done it. So it's really been fantastic. This year we focus on a bunch of different themes. To what Rob was saying, we ask about what are the most important considerations when a buyer chooses cloud storage, and native security and data protection features is the number 2 most important consideration. So just kind of backing up what Rob's talking about with features like MUA, it's not because Wasabi's telling you it's important. It's because the market, that's what the market demands, is that level of native security features to make sure they're protected, as ransomware is kind of a never-ending arms race, and they need tools to be able to fight the good fight. But then we focus on fees, and this is my new soundbite is going to be saying, I feel like I did this on Spicy Bites this week. So I feel like
I know.
Al Gore in Inconvenient Truth.
Hey,
About,
don't get ahead of me.
okay.
Don't get ahead of me. Look, I know Al Gore. You are no Al Gore. I've been waiting all day to say that.
But when it comes to fees, so we've got some like really cool marquee data points on fee structures and how it relates to billing. And I'm kind of like I'm a broken record. I've heard myself say this 100 times. So I'm going to put Dan on the spot. Dan, do you want to talk about what we found on fee structures, looking at the breakdown of billing?
Yeah, in terms of, when it comes to your cloud storage and those types of services, we usually tend to break down the billing into the actual fees / the actual payment for your storage. And with this survey, we actually found that organizations on average spend 47% of their cloud storage budgets on just the fees aspect. So, being able to look at that and say almost half of their budgets is going towards not even the aspect of actually storing your organization's data, but just on the fees that are associated with moving it and using it.
Yeah, exactly. So in other words, when you get your bill from your cloud storage provider, you cut it in half, right? That's the best way to look at what you're paying on fees versus what you're paying on stored capacity.
So
that is the fee problem in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And the result of that is that it's overspending, over budgeting on your cloud infrastructure, right? It makes it all the things we talk about.
Well, you asked that question as well. Sorry, hang on, Rob. So you asked that question as well. Like, did you overrun on your cloud storage costs?
Yeah.
And there was a significant response of, yes, we did.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So that's kind of how we tie in that part of the conversation on impact of fees. So over 50%, 53% said they exceeded their budgeted spend for cloud storage in 2023. And it's really, it should be it's not like, given the way that bills are structured with a significant proportion of variable fees, it's not like this is some revelation that organizations are exceeding their budgeted spend, because they have no idea how to budget or forecast their usage given the variability of fees. So we're just trying to kind of shine, we're trying to shine the spotlight on what's going on in the market, what I believe is an inherent an unsustainable inherent complexity in the way that billing is done today. It's something that Wasabi was designed to solve, and here we are. Let's say Wasabi came to market 2017. Here we are, 7 years later, and the way that the largest providers who own 80% of market share charge has not changed. Right? This problem has not gone away.
Rob, you had something?
I just want to know if he's ever dove in with these customers later on to find out when they exceed their budget, what's the compromises they have to make?
We have not, but I actually, we were on a call this week with 451 from S&P Global, Henry Balthazar, and he had some really interesting data from a survey that he had done. So 451 is another independent analyst firm, and he asked, he does some similar research on fee structures in the IaaS space. He actually asked that question, like, what was the impact? What was the resulting impact of fee overages, or like, what did you do? And a lot of it was just reevaluating billing, having to move budget from one part of your IT ecosystem to another, right? Probably from like, from applications to infrastructure, or from development to production, to more of like a production environment, or sorry, development to infrastructure. You get what I'm trying to say. I'm blanking on the word. Sorry. Um,
Pineapple.
moving dollars around within the budget. What was super interesting about his finding, though, kind of long-winded way of getting there, people do. It's incredibly difficult. What he found was it's very difficult for enterprises just to say we're going to delete data and move providers. So that's the challenge. Like you would think that that would be the nuclear option, to say, hey, these fees are unsustainable. This service is costing us way more than we thought. We need to move. We need to delete data. And that's extremely hard to do. So that option as a solution really is not on the table for a lot of organizations, as their data estates have grown, as their applications that depend on those cloud storage data estates have grown into production and into mission critical workloads. So it's kind of not like there's no good answer to how you solve that problem, other than continuing to endure the pain and try to.
But I'm thinking it either hits their profit line, which investors wouldn't like. It either hits their head count where they can't hire, or they have to slim hiring. They can't buy additional whatever resources, licenses, and stuff. It's a finite bucket of money. So if they're spending more than they expected and they're not willing to change that for whatever reason, then something else in the organization will suffer. I mean, people doing twice as much work, the kind of thing. I don't know.
So interestingly enough, there was an article, I think on Reddit, that caught fire this week about the discovery of a bucket being hit by unauthorized users. Basically, if you have a bucket out there and you charge a request fee, and people can just hit that bucket, they can slam it, and you've got to pay all the API request fees. So apparently this already made its way up to the head of the hyperscaler responsible for this little whoopsie daisy. And, just another kind of nail in the coffin for, anyone who is worried about excessive fees, right? Because this is something you cannot control. And of course you can when you use something like Wasabi, where there are no fees for API requests, right? There is nothing to worry about. It's your data. Use it when you want. Use it as much as you want, right?
So I want to get your opinion on this. I love that articles like that come out that are kind of shedding a light on how those fees can be
surprise fees.
Surprise fees can be so
Surprise.
exorbitant, and how they can be really out of your control, right? I think that was the point of
Absolutely.
that article, is very difficult to predict. But like, even with that sort of publicity, my I would guess that nothing is going to change.
No.
So that's the real difficult, the shameful part for me, thinking about the market. Like, the future of our market, cloud infrastructure services, is stifled by the way that we do billing.
Right.
We like the royal we from the market perspective,
Right.
not the way that Wasabi does it, obviously. But I feel like that needs to change for the market to really continue to flourish. But when you look at how large the hyperscalers have gotten, and their billing models and their profit models, they're not, how can they possibly change within kind of the spotlight of Wall Street? I mean, I'm using AI as an example. Let's look at the way that recognition is priced. Something like recognition from AWS. I feel like with AI, a relatively new workload, there was an opportunity to change the way you would do billing. You do kind of like more of an all-in all-encompassing, non-fee based way of pricing this new service that everybody's going to be adopting. But all the major hyperscalers went right back to pricing it on a like per, you want facial recognition, here's your price per hour. You want to do logo detection, it's an additional fee. You want to do speech to text, it's an additional fee, right? It's just like the same story all over again with a new use case, which is kind of frustrating.
Hey, it's hard to get out of a set pattern like that.
Yeah.
Right? You've done all the work. You've built all the infrastructure. We know how complicated, billing can be, even though ours is as simple as you could possibly want it, right? And yet, the hyperscalers have their patterns set. They have the customers they want. I believe that this also intentionally helps them avoid the customers they don't want. Right. So there's the pros and cons to that. So that's okay. Right. We're going to continue to do our thing. Right. Provide predictable. That's interesting. Did somebody log in and add themselves to our?
They just made a comment.
Oh,
it's a
okay.
comment, I think.
I haven't seen that, but wow, we got a comment.
No,
Hey,
I haven't seen StreamYard do that either.
wow.
But let's talk about that, because I think you brought up an interesting thing. If you were to ask anybody off the street, what bill, for example, is the one you hate the most? It'll be your TV bill, or it'll be your, with sports and all the extra charges. But there's not an alternative. We're bringing an alternative, and we are doing things like this show to help talk to more and more customers about that alternative to paying those junk fees, paying those surprise fees and stuff. So, we have a long journey ahead of us to do this, but we're gaining traction, and people are seeing there is an alternative to paying these hidden fees, these fees that we don't have to charge. And then when they do go to Wasabi, they free up all that money for the things it was meant for.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess for me, just from a market perspective, it's a little bit disappointing to see these things not change as fast as I would like.
Oh, I love it.
It's fantastic that there's providers like Wasabi solving the problem.
I want them to move at a snail's pace. I don't want them to change
exactly.
thing. Andrew,
That's why.
Look, your strategy for Wasabi, not for the rest of the market. You're no longer at Forrest or IDC. Don't give any free advice. What do you think? What are you thinking?
I'll be Al Gore making the same presentation.
This guy on the show.
I don't know. I think he's stuck in.
I'll be just repeating myself for years to come, and nothing will change.
Look, Al, we love you. All right, and we hear you. We see you. We appreciate the insight. Truly, we appreciate your insight, but don't give advice to the competition. Let them keep charging people out the wazoo. It's just gonna increase the velocity of the stampede of folks bringing their data to Wasabi, saving tons of money. And like Rob said earlier, right, they can then turn those savings into additional security analysts, right? Better defense in depth capabilities for their customers, right? In addition to what we already bring to the table for them. All right, I think we've just about
one more key thing is it also they don't pay a penalty or ransom to test their backups, to test their disaster recovery, because when they have it in Wasabi, they can pull out copies, make sure they're good, make sure their whole process works, and not get a big surprise bill for doing that.
Absolutely. And they should be. That's another key part of having a viable backup and recovery plan as part of your overall defense in depth, as part of your DR, right? Validate that the data that you are backing up has the correct integrity, that it is recoverable.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. I think we have pretty much filled the time with lots of insightful pineapple comments. Had to just slip one more in there.
A plethora of pineapple comments.
A plethora of pineapple comments. I don't know. Maybe we'll bring Andrew back. He seems to know what he's talking about.
And Dan.
Well, Dan just has had way too much airtime today, so we'll have to bring him back as a casual observer. I do want to make sure that we do regretfully plug the other show. I think what was the term you used, Andrew? Sadly, okay. Check out Spicy Bites 8. Outstanding interview with Aaron. Aaron Adele, some excellent nuggets about AI, specifically our new offering, Wasabi Air, and similar approach, right? Bring us your video. We will give you all the metadata you want, and we're not going to empty out your bank account in the process. Also, just over the horizon is a great deep dive with Andrew, Dave Friend, and myself, digging into the cloud storage index. And then we also have a variation on that topic with Danny Collins, Andrew Smith, and myself, digging into the cloud storage index, specifically around surveillance data, video surveillance. So lots of great stuff coming around the corner. Check us out at wasabi.com, do a free trial, and sign up, save some money. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining today, and everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Drew and Rob.
Thank you, guys.
See you later. Bye-bye.